Okay. And after country comes the people that make everything possible. So let us please give our appreciation to our members and our partners and our partner institutions, without whom we would not be here today. So these are the people who, as members of MAP ABCD, um, generously support us in our endeavors to bring you these information uh, for the betterment of our country. Okay, so thank you very much to everyone. Okay, and without further ado, as this is a very interesting topic, and a topic I think that is very close to everyone's hearts here in the Philippines, may I please call on our president to introduce our speaker for this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have not only an interesting topic, but an interesting speaker. I haven't heard about such high praise for someone as much as this person. But before I do that, I'd like to say that in addition to introducing him, I'd just like to highlight maybe for 30 seconds another person. He's joined us. He's been a speaker before. He's the head of the Coconut Industry Reform Movement. And he's also heading a worldwide federation. Joey Faustino, just give the name of the group where you're fighting right now in 10 country governments and what happened to the president. Yes,
Thank you. Thank you, Ernie. Good morning, everyone. Still advisor to the Coconut Industry Reform Movement, currently Secretary General to the Asian Federation Against Involuntary Disappearances, and President to the board of an NGO with alternative legal services to the marginalized sector. Thank you.
You're effectively heading the global thing because the head was arrested recently. Just about 30 seconds. What happened?
Yes. In 2021, India arrested a Kashmiri human rights activist, Khurram Parvez. He's been jailed since then, but 3 days ago, he was awarded the Martin Ennals Human Rights Award. So, I mean,
is he still in jail? Is he still in jail?
Yes, he's still detained. They have a war terrorism law in India that can keep you 180 days on mere suspicion.
Okay. I say that because Joey is now taking the casualties in jail. He's the secretary. He's heading this fight right now. And that relates to our speaker now, because our speaker, he did his master's in economics in political economy. More importantly, he has a doctorate from, believe it or not, a university in China, right, which is the center of the world, so to speak, in many ways right now. And basically, his doctorate is in world economy. He went from political economy to world economy, and he's now talking about business, right? It's gone to politics, to economics, to business. And I've not heard this much. You know, when I heard about this guy, I really wanted to know more about him. One of our directors is Noreen Young. Her father is Philip Young, and he exports to 40 countries. I said, "You mean 1-4?" He said, "No, 40." He's now the head of the export advisory group now of the council. I think created by government. And he told me one of the best guys he's ever met in his life. Right? Is this guy, our guest speaker? Right? He's 34 years old, 1 year older than our chairman. You see the young guys are really moving in. And he told me that this guy is so good, that this is the kind of guy we need in government, not only dedicated to the country, but extremely competent. And he's going to talk about the topic here that is important, right? Coconut, you know, I asked Joey Faustino to come because he's also heading the Coconut Reform Movement. And this is what we need, not just human rights, for example, the human rights of the coconut farmers. Who are not getting the levy, right? And the levy they get is so small. But more importantly, I think, just as important, is a business. You know, they're poor and they're not getting money from their coconuts, right? Their average is 30,000 per hectare per year. They can get 300,000 easily. I've been involved in a group. You know, Joy, just to let you know, my partner, wife, you know, legal partner, my wife, made not 30,000 but 400,000 in 1 hectare through coconut intercropping with banana, etc. No, as a matter of fact, I personally bought 22 hectares for a hybrid coconut group. No, it's foundation headed by Manny Pangilinan, who's also PLDT head, etc. And so coconuts always fascinated me. And this guy, Gino Ilano, not only is an outstanding person, dedicated people, but extremely good in export marketing, extremely good. And this is what you need. And his topic today is, of course, coconut products in Paris. But in addition to that fascinating, romantic, exciting thing, I've asked him to do two things. Number one, given this, what's the problem with coconut in general? And he has not yet looked at the coconut roadmap. And, these roadmaps, just to let you know, I'm the head of all industry roadmaps, right? In agriculture, there's no such head, but I've seen the roadmaps of agriculture. They're really, 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 really not business oriented, right? And therefore, Mr. Lano, you must really connect now to agriculture. DTI should connect to agriculture. And so Gino is going to talk about that, but he's not limited to Paris, but he will talk about that as it relates to our coconut industry getting more income for our people, right? And since he's very good in this, not just in coconut, I'd like to talk about that. Most of all, Gino's gonna tell us how we in this audience can promote, because the prayer said, today's prayer, if you listen carefully to the prayer, it said we must breathe life into activities. We don't want this forum to be just this. We want life, meaning we want to really translate what it says into actual jobs. And then it says there it will be for the truth. Well, you went to the University of Asia Pacific. They're very much into this, God-oriented education. But we'd like to say that while we do it for truth, we want a truth for God's kingdom. God's kingdom is thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. His will on earth is that we shouldn't wait for heaven. We should have justice right here. And coconut is so important for justice, right? And part of that is not just human rights, it's business, right? So Gino and Joey, please listen. You're heading the coconut group. And as you know, human rights, you're doing it, leading 10 countries right now against disappearances. But there's the disappearance of the money from the coconut farmers, which we got to get back, and they're spending so little. And when they spend it, it might not be business oriented. So Gino, we are business people, no? And please use us. We're connected to banks, government, etc. Please tell us how we can help us. And I'd like to let you know that I want to thank Bernie for getting it, because you're one of the best I heard, right? Okay, Gino, please take it away.
Excuse me, may I interrupt?
Please.
We see Gino will expanded his talk to be entitled Global Trends and Opportunities for PH Coconut Products.
Wow, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie. And thanks for Bernie for getting it. Bernie, of course, is the wind beneath our wings. Without her, we're nothing. Okay, Gino, please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be invited this morning, and seeing very famous faces in this Zoom setup. So it's really a good opportunity for me to share what I know, and at the same time give me more things that I can work with in terms of how we will try to promote coconut. We're trying to look at coconut in two ways. Number one, it's a tree of life. It's a very prevalent information about coconut. And number two is coconut is a product that can actually be under the circular economy. It's one of the trends right now that has been ongoing, and we're trying to capitalize on this SDG goal we're in. Our coconut is actually a very good product to promote it under the circular economy. So I'd like to start with numbers. Okay, so I think everyone has been well aware that in terms of the world coconut market, this is what is selling in the setup right now. So primarily, we go for desiccated coconut. This is then followed by fresh coconut in the inner shell, and then fresh coconut that is shelled but peeled. So the global coconut product market is valued at around 4,000 or 4 billion in 2021, and is expected to reach 7 billion in 2027. So that's a compounded annual growth rate of 9.98 during that forecast period. This is according to Mordor Intelligence. So if we look at the breakdown, desiccated coconut remains to be the top export that we are looking into. Now, the second thing I'd like to discuss already is this is a partnership that EMB has done with ITC. So this is not only done for coconut, but for all merchandise products that the Philippines is actually exporting. So we partner with them, and they actually did a 5-year study for export potential, meaning this is what we can actually export versus what we are currently exporting. So if you look at the legend, in terms of the Philippine products potential for coconut, and the number one product that we're looking at is crude coconut oil. We have realized only about 76%. In short, we've not reached the full potential of our exports. So there's really still a lot of room to improve upon in terms of our exports. Now, in terms of coconut oil, excluding crude oil and fraction, we have realized 77%. But if we look at desiccated coconut and look at it side by side with the previous statistic, desiccated coconut remains to be or would have the lion's share of the market for coconut. And we have only realized 64% of our export potential. That gives us about 36% room to capitalize more. And these are just some of the major products of coconut that we're looking into. If you look at the other smaller colors here, there are other options that we can try to explore. I'd like to give a more macro perspective, and hopefully this will give you an enticing idea that there's still a lot of opportunities and potential for our coconut in the Philippines. Now, how do we look at these opportunities? In terms of world coconut production, we're actually third in terms of metric tons that we have produced. And we're very close to India and not very far from Indonesia. And the next competitor is really way below us. So there's no scare to be afraid that we're going to be overtaken by Brazil. But the main question here is that we should try to improve more on what we are producing in terms of metric tons of coconut, because I think these countries, they have yet to have an understanding similar to ours that coconut is a tree of life, wherein from the roots until the tip of the actual coconut tree is something that can be used for a product. So that is our edge vis-a-vis all of these other countries. So this is how we should try to look into the potential of our coconut products. Now, I'd like to present the export performance of our coconut products. So what have we been doing for our products? Our total merchandise exports for coconut is at $1.9 billion US dollars, which is 55.7% higher than the previous years. So this is a very good opportunity for us that we are seeing. And we have increased from 2020 to 2021 our exports for coconut. This is just for the food component. Now, the breakdown is a lot. You'll see later what are the different major exports for food. And in terms of food commodity, these are the breakdown. So you have crude oil, refined oil or coconut copra, the VCO, refined bleach or deodorized, and all other commodities. Now, one thing I'd like to highlight in this discussion is this idea. When we had our talks with our commercial attaché in Korea, we asked him to help us promote our VCO, given that it's a good alternative as a medicine to COVID. And one question that was posted by our counterpart in Korea was, is this something that is big in the Philippines? And our commercial attaché explicitly mentioned to me that he did not know what to say, because in reality, we're not actually promoting, or we're not using coconut in our domestic setup. And the next phrase that was given by our Korean buyers was, if this is something that is not being used in the Philippines, why sell it to us? If this is not something big in the Philippines, why are you selling this to us? So I think as part of the business community, I think this is one area that we should try to improve upon, and that is promotion in the domestic market as well. Because the best kind of marketing, and I think everyone is well aware of this, is for us to really promote the product on the domestic level before we actually sell it. Because our testament to it can be our usage of our product. And this is something that many of us tend to forget, because we just sell and sell our products abroad. But if we try to look at it, we're not really using these products. We're promoting virgin coconut oil. We wanted the world to know about it, but how come we're not using it? So this is one area that many of us are actually very low in terms of helping the coconut industry. Another aspect is we only have started consuming our coconut water when the different study on it has higher electrolyte versus the usual water that we're drinking, and there's a lot more health benefits that you would get if we consume coconut water. And this again would fall on the same aspect that we have not been using our own products. Yes, we sell our products, it's good. Other countries would have their own say about our products, but at the end of the day, they will all go back to us and tell us, are you using your products as really part of your everyday living? And many of us would actually be very guilty that, we're not using it. So how come we're selling it at that particular level? And we're asking, how come our exports remain to be at that level? Because if you try to look at the market, there's a big market, we're selling already, but on the domestic market, we're not trying to capitalize on what we have. The Philippine population is about 110 million, and that alone would be translated to 110 consumers easily. So if we want to increase and help our farmers directly, it can be through the domestic market plus our exports. So I think that's one area that many of us have forgotten already. Now, in terms of the non-food sector, the total merchandise exports is valued at 464.32 million, which is again 20.1% higher than the previous year. These are all good numbers, but again, we go back to the idea that we're not really utilizing all of these products. For instance, I've seen the coco coir, and we just had the technical working group for textile, and DOST is now trying to promote coco coir as part of textiles that can be used not only for clothing but also for shoes. And this is a very good opportunity for our producers to look at domestic raw materials in terms of producing our products. So again, we have a lot of raw materials coming from coconut, and yet we tend to import more as we produce more products that we are to sell for the international market. So what really needs to be done is really to try to look at the different product offerings that the coconut has to offer. Because right now, yes, we know that these products are actually available, but we don't actually utilize it. Another very good product that I just remembered is, I don't know if you've heard of the Coco Patch. It's very similar to the Nata de Coco texture, and they are being used as a faster way to heal your wounds. So if you got operated, instead of using betadine and the usual medication, you can just use a coco patch and apply it on your wound, and that would give you a faster time of healing. And one very good opportunity here, one very good effect is that there would be a lesser chance for you to have a scar, because fortunately for us, this coconut would have that particular component of healing properly our skin without that scar component. So there's really a lot of opportunities that are being presented for this product that we have yet to capitalize. Now, what are the top export markets for our non-food? What I'd like to highlight here is we have started to venture into the European countries, and our VCO is selling very expensive in these markets. Yes, that's a good thing for our exporters, but again, if we try to look at how we are consuming VCO, many countries would tend to question, you're not using it, but you're selling it to us. So these are things that we need to look into as we try to improve and try to utilize the opportunities being presented by this particular sector. So next that I'll be presenting is the Philippine-France bilateral trade relation. This is available in our website, and the Philippines is actually our 17th total trade partner. It's our 18th export market, and it's our 17th import supplier. So what we'd like to focus here is our Philippine exports to France. In the top 10 commodity, we are seeing desiccated coconut. So why have we not exported other products of ours to France? Yes, we participated in SIAL, and they have seen our products. And I think one of the major concerns that we're seeing here is, how do we really market all of these products to Europe? How do we identify what are the things needed by the market in terms of looking at our products? And one of the main answers that we have been forgetting is these markets right now are really looking at the health component. If you look at how consumers in the international market have shifted their ideas in terms of consuming, they are now more into the sustainable component, the circular economy. And our coconut can actually offer both of these components to our products. And if we try to put at the same time the story that, if you're gonna buy Filipino products, you'll be supporting this particular set of farmers, that's something as well that is very important, and that would easily sell to the European markets. And it's one thing that we try to look at here as we promote our Philippine products is the story behind every product. And for every story, there will always be people who will be touched upon by that story, who would be willing to buy the product. I know it's a marketing strategy, but I think that is what we need to do right now to really help the industry. We really need to put all of these things in the product, the packaging, how we label our products, all of these things. Because what we're trying to export right now are just the raw materials. We're not trying to go for the high value products. And obviously, all of these things would all boil down to the fact that we have not yet established a very good story that would sell for our coconut industry. And this is what needs to be done by the industry at the same time with the help from government and all other agencies. Because we already have that particular level of production, and we just need to really pump up our marketing strategy. Now, in terms of Philippine food exports to France, in 2020, 2021, surprisingly, it has now become the top export for us. So if you try to look at the story behind it, we may be really doing something that may have shifted the story for France. But if you go back to the previous slide, we're just looking at the total, the overall exports. But in terms of food, we are exporting desiccated coconuts as a top product. But all other things we're not trying to look at other products of coconut. We have other products aside from desiccated coconut. Our powder coconut is being exported as well, but we don't have as much capacity. And looking at this market, there is really a demand for that particular product wherein you powderize it, but you have to retain that component. And I think we've seen a technology when we visited one of the SSF in Laguna, that they do the powderizing of the coconut water, but if you put it in water, it would still taste just like the freshly opened young coconut, because we have our powdered coconut, but when we try to put it in water, dilute it, the taste becomes different. So another area that we really need to look into is on innovation. We really need to try to understand what are the things that are actually selling and what are the things needed by the industry to improve the production of the products. So I think this is one area where Philmec can actually be a partner with the private sector to identify which products would actually need the technology, because I do understand that all of this technology are really expensive, and it's the right time for us that we have this industry development plan and the Coco Levy Fund to help us identify what are the products, what are the commodities, the technologies needed to improve our production of coconut products. Next is just to give you what we have done for some of our coconut producers in Sial. We did pay for a Philippine pavilion in Sial, and we brought about 12 coconut companies, 12 coconut companies and one coffee company as part of the intercrop for this promotion. And all of these companies that have been present was able to get sales, and these are book and negotiated sales. So it's really a very good opportunity for companies like the smaller ones to present the Filipino coconut products. And one thing that was a feedback was many consumers were actually quite surprised that we have some of these products available, like the cocoa jam, the cocoa sugar. All of these products are actually very good, and they would offer the health component, the health benefit that is being presented as one of the selling point of coconut products that we have for the Philippines. In terms of the coconut products are seen to be as inside the monoprix, such as French Gourmet, and they're made from coconut and chocolate coated with desiccated coconut. So these are some of the products that are available in France that are using coconut products, and we hope that this is more than what we can offer. So if you try to look at this, these are all high value products, and this is our dream for the coconut industry, not just to export our raw materials, but really to focus on the high value products, because this is where actually the money would come in. And hopefully we can try to penetrate such as Raffaello that produces the Ferrero chocolate, and this is a dream that we hope we can try to really materialize in the future. So what I really like to focus is the opportunities and trends for coconut products. So these are some of the opportunities. Number one is we really have to look at the organic certification of our coconut products. In the US market, we are seen, or our coconut products is seen to be one of a not so good product, because it's considered to be an allergen. So it's a nut. So they're seeing the coconut as an allergen. So if we can try to have this particular certification, this is one opportunity that we can really showcase our product to be not an allergen, but a product that would have other benefits for for people if they try to consume it. Number two is in terms of our coconut products being seen as a healthy ingredient. So when you produce finished products, all of these high value goods, it's good that they try to utilize coconut products because of the health component that are actually present in the coconut products. And number three, we also saw that in other parts of the world, there's now a growing demand for plant-based food products. And all of these plant-based food products are actually very important because they would give you a lot of opportunities to sell. And these plant-based products are really something that would be on a higher scale. So these are some of the examples that I can share. First one is in terms of product innovation from coconut margarine to cocoa butter. Why is it important? It's a lot healthier to consume cocoa butter rather than margarine. Our cocoa butter would have lesser cholesterol than a coconut margarine. So I think this is one trend that we can try to look into, because I think the process in making a butter would make your product a lot healthier rather than producing just the coconut margarine. Second one is our regular coconut vinegar to using the actual coconut sap vinegar. We have been using our coconut water to produce the vinegar, but I think the coconut sap is a lot more tastier. You get more of the benefit of the coconut product if you will be using the sap itself. The main question here that was posted by one foreigner when we were discussing about coconut sap, sap in Filipino is dakta. So how do we tell them that this is not dakta, rather this is the nectar of the flower of the coconut? So again, we go back to the idea of really marketing our coconut product into something that is much more than what they actually just see. So these are some of the trends that we need to improve upon. And I think we're really forgetting, because many of our producers right now, they just tend to settle to what they see that is being produced in the market right now. So what we really need to do is try to look at other things that would be beneficial, at the same time helpful to the farmers. Another trend is from coconut condiments, food and beverages ingredients. So before, we're just settling in terms of condiments, coconut flour, all of these things. But I think it's also really important that we look at these coconut aminos as an alternative to soy sauce. This is a lot tastier. It's soy-free. It's 45% less sodium than your soy sauce. We all know the different bad things that sodium can actually give to our body, and this is what needs to be promoted in terms of how we produce our product. It's really about innovating and at the same time incorporating technology. Another example here is the use of the coconut latte. I think it's a delicious alternative to dairy, and it's really something that should be embraced upon by consumers. Consumers right now have been shifting their preference to really the more healthy, sustainable aspect of goods that are present in the market. And another important innovation is on the usage of the other parts of the coconut. Coconut husk can actually be used to make sponges for makeup. And we all know that many of us are actually conscious of how we look and all of these things. So this is a good opportunity as well for our producers not to just throw away coconut husk or convert it into cocoa coir, but also the other opportunities that are presented by the coconut product. So here you're seeing that coconut husk can be transformed into makeup sponges. So just to end, I'd like to present some of the functions that are being done by the PMU of EMB. So from our end, what we can provide as support to our businessman and to our stakeholders are the following. So number one, we can help undertake market research activities and projects. We also can conduct inbound and outbound business matching missions. So one example is during SIAL, and we've also participated in Selangor. So these are some of the things that we have been doing. We do business matching missions as well, and we ask our companies that we will be bringing abroad to pre-identify possible partners that they'd like to meet, and we'll try to facilitate that particular meeting. We also have local and international promotional activities. International activities would be the different trade fairs that are present worldwide, and try to help participate in all of this, and try to match them with possible partners. And in terms of the local, one example would be IFEX. We also vet the beneficiaries of the different CFIDP programs and coordinate with the Philippine Coconut Authority and the BSO. And lastly, we conduct the monitoring and evaluation of the different programs that we are carrying out for the different programs under the CFIDP. So I hope that I did give justice to your early morning, and feel free to ask questions to clarify on the things that were presented this morning. So thank you very much for listening.
Mr. Chairman, if I have the opportunity, I've never done this
Sure,
for
go ahead.
I've never done this for any forum, but I want to take this as an opportunity. We have today attending a few important people. We have a new board. The board, usually everybody's about 65 years old. Now everybody is below 45, right? They're all fantastic. We have Clarice Ong, who was with McKinsey Strategic Planning. The reason I say that is because it's coconut, it's important. We have, of course, Yvette Tan, who is not only the editor head of the Agribusiness magazine, but also the chief of the Agribusiness section of Bulletin, etc. No? And we have, of course, Joey Faustino. So Mr. Chairman, just a small diversion to make this more exciting, with just maybe a comment or two from each of them, no? And then we start the discussion. Incidentally, Mr. Gino, you did a PhD in China, and of course, you really world traveled. At 34 years old, you're fantastic. And we just want to have a few comments here that we can add to the discussion. So I just want to say that we have another guy called Cesar Gomez who's looked at the plan. And we think that is one of our two main advisors here. And so I think we'll do a lot of work after this forum. But if I can do a very quick soundbite, no, I'd like to ask the ones I'm going to talk to keep their comments to less than 2 minutes, right? What's your reaction, right? Okay, Joey, what's your quick reaction to this? Less than 2 minutes, please, because we want the audience. Incidentally, Gino, can you stay with us up to 10 o'clock or not?
I have an EXCO meeting by actually 9 this morning.
Okay, got it. Okay, let's keep it to 2 minutes. Okay, and then we'll get people to ask, right? Okay, Joey, less than 2 minutes. What's your reaction quickly?
Yes, good morning. There were lots of theories, tips for the industry as seen by our resource speaker, NDTI, I believe. Except that I think there should be some type of prioritization and direction setting. You see, the coconut farmers and industry development plan that you talk about is a menu of things, but not a direction of where to take it. I hope DTI can define which of these products would be best where to take the industry and design the programs according to that direction. I'm also very concerned about the domestic use. You're correct. How can we show the international market on the health benefits of coconuts if we don't use it ourselves? I agree. But we don't use virgin coconut either. It's not a big market in the domestic. Why? Because there's no purchasing power. So if you're serious about involving the poor coconut farmers themselves in industry development, developing value chains in the communities themselves, you increase purchasing power of farmers also, so they become consumers of their own products. Right now, I go to the rural area, I want to set up a meeting with coconut farmers. They're old already, and they're suffering from arthritis, gout, etc. And the virgin coconut oil is a good cure for this. So it's really ironical. They have the product, they don't consume it because they don't have capital, technology. That's it. So those are the two things: how to bring it at the community level, and the first is really setting a direction, especially now that DTI is working with, I think, 15 other agencies under the Coconut Trust Fund. And each one would not know how to define each other. I leave it on that point, Ernie. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. As a matter of fact, we're going to work between forums. That's what our chairman, our departed chairman, wants us to do, work with between the forums. Okay. Then we have, of course, Yvette Tan, if you can, a few comments. Yvette Tan, incidentally, is a Palanca awardee, and her book in the book fair was number 2 in the sales and all that. But in addition to being fantastically talented in literature and all that, she has a passion for agriculture. Yvette, you're also as we said, the head of the agriculture section of Bulletin and the editor of the biggest selling agriculture magazine. You have a comment below 2 minutes, please. Yvette, would you like to say something?
No comment, but I'd love to feature this if I can get his contact numbers later.
Great. Okay. And Noreen, the reason we particularly like her, of course, her firm does something called AgriHub, which connects farmers to consumers. Her father is the chairman of Philippine Chair of Agriculture and Food, and he revolutionized it. It has 43 sectors with 43 champions. Gino, you must know this, no? Philip Ang is her father. But she has the McKinsey strategic planning thing. No? She's a member of the board as well, just like Yvette Tan. Would you like to say anything, if anything at all? Clarice Ong, are you still there? Because Clarice has to leave early usually because she starts work at 9. Are you still there, Clarice? Okay, so let's proceed.
Yes.
Yeah. Clarice, would you like to say a few minutes of comments, if any, about what you see in this talk and the potential in this talk?
Sorry, my phone is not really responding, but can you hear me? Can you
Yes,
see me?
very clearly. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Clarice.
No, I'm just very happy. I think it's a learning experience for me personally, because I didn't know that there were so many uses and so many applications. And I'm also very excited that hopefully we will have more prospects for our Filipino-made products in the future, and hopefully we can get support for this from the private sector as well as the public sector. So
Yeah,
thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time in giving this talk.
Yeah, Gino, you have to leave at 9, no? So basically, we have a few minutes left here. We have 12 minutes left. Let's entertain 1 or 2 questions. Then, Gino, you tell us where you think we should go now. But before we do that, can you give us your number, Gino? Can you give us your number, office or cell number?
I just posted my number in the group chat together with my email, sir.
Okay. Did you post your cell number? Cell number
Yep.
or office cell number? Okay, dictate
That's
it.
my
Dictate it.
0917
Yeah.
791
Yeah.
5802.
Yeah. Right. Incidentally, your PhD is from China. China is a very important country to us right now. Okay. All right. 1 or 2 questions. Well, forgive me, Mr. Chair, for doing this out of the ordinary. I don't call people usually, but perhaps I turn the floor over to you, and maybe you can ask Maki to call only 1 or 2 questions before Gino leaves. But we are meeting from 9 to 10, incidentally, and we can do a lot of stuff, even if Gino leaves. All right.
Feel free to message me for anything. I'd love to hear more inputs. What Sir Joey mentioned is really something that's very important, because what we notice is that we're just getting it from other government agencies, and I think what they're telling us are just on the skill level. And I think your inputs would be very much helpful, because you're on the ground with these farmers.
Okay. So thank you very much for that, Ernie. No, it's perfectly fine. It's nice to go off the beaten track a few times. Okay, anyway, while Gino himself might not be able to join us, perhaps our other friends from the Export Management Bureau of DTI could join us, because I see our good friend Albin is here. Maybe the other members can stay with us until 10 o'clock. Is that all right? Or hello, just in case we have other questions for the export management. Okay, well, I'm not hearing anything from them, but anyway, so yeah, let's move on to questions. We do have 10 minutes, so let's do it quickly. So I see a hand raised from Ike, Senyeres. Ike.
Yeah, thank you. Sa corporate world kasi, ang lead talaga yung marketing. Yung R&D, sumusunod lang sa direksyon ng marketing. I think that rule should be, adopted by government. Kasi ngayon, parang kanya-kanyang latay.
True, sir.
BOST does its thing and nobody really heads marketing, no? In Australia, they've already combined their foreign affairs with their international trade, which is a very good idea. We should look into that. Kasi economic diplomacy na to eh. Yun ang aking suggestion. Thank you. Over.
Gino, would you want to comment?
Yeah.
Yes, that's something that we'd like to hear more. And I'm actually taking down notes, so all of these things can be taken into consideration when we try to have a better plan when we meet with PCA. I'll definitely put all of this in the table to let them understand, because I think given that we have a new government, everyone is quite new. So we really have to synergize all of the efforts of all the other agencies to make sure that we're really helping the farmers. Because the main comment coming from PCA when we started the CFIDP is that it should help the farmers. The money should be given to the farmers. But our main point from the marketing end is that we cannot simply give the money to the farmers, because we really need to market so that it becomes a sustainable component. After all, we have a value chain that we follow, and from that value chain, if we improve the companies in terms of their marketing, being able to sell, that would have a trickle-down effect to the farmers and allowing them to produce more of this particular product that we're looking at.
Okay. Are there other questions from the participants?
Oh, Julius, if there's no one else, yeah.
Julius, may I make a comment, Julius?
Sige, I'll start with Bernie and then we'll go to
Yeah.
Oscar.
This is
please.
Oscar Barrera from Export, no? Regarding the questions of the Koreans, and they're saying, how come, let's say, you're selling to us something which you are not using? Okay, I think we have to be frank about it. And we have to really say and admit the fact of life.
Okay, ma'am.
We have certain products which the wealthier world, as I say, wealthier world can afford, and that is a natural thing. I mean, that's how the global economy is, and so they are the ones who can afford the high products, and not us. So it's a fact of life. I think other global economists will understand that. I mean, they shouldn't hold that against us. That if only we have the capacity to buy
To buy it.
VCO, everybody can have the capacity. We'll do it. No, we will really do it, but we just simply cannot. So I think we just have to simply tell them that's the fact of life. You're the guys who are wealthier. The money is abroad. So we need that in the Philippines. So that's it.
Thank you, sir. Noted on that.
Okay, sige. Bernie, please.
Yeah, my question, Gino, is what kind of competition do we have from other countries, if there are any, and what are we doing about it?
Currently, in terms of competition, the Thailand coconut is selling a lot better than our coconut product. Right now, this is our major scare, is that if we promote our products without the proper inventory available worldwide, we might be helping our competitors. So we might be doing a marketing that would greatly benefit them if we don't have available supply. So what is another component that we're trying to look at is really to move the inventory in different parts of the world. So we really wanted to do more of the product activation, and at the same time, really trying to pump up the production. Yes, we have the numbers, but we don't have as much capability to convert all of these raw materials into finished products or high value products. Unlike Thailand, they've been producing it into higher value products. And part of the function of Filmec is really to look at possible products that they can provide set of machinery. But we have to take note that Filmec will not only will not provide just one set of machinery. It's an entire set of production lines. So they really have to identify which are the products that would actually sell. So we're working with them. We're trying to look at different statistics, which are the products that are actually would have the highest potential if we try to go for higher value products for coconut products.
All right, thanks very much for that. Our next question comes from Robert Yupanco.
Okay, Gino, this is another matter. I don't know if you presented this already to earlier because I was late. You know, Filipinos mahilig sa, they like barbecues and cooking out and so on, including our restaurant, which is Samjup Salamat. So we use a lot of charcoal. Okay. Now, charcoal, when you use charcoal, you cut a tree. For every sack of charcoal, I think 1 tree or 2 trees of are cut in the forest, no? But I discovered there's somebody through the project one is they use coconut husk. They bind it with gao,
Charcoal briquette, sir.
charcoal briquette. Okay, and this charcoal briquette, then you don't use the coconut, which is thrown away. Plus, you save the tree from being cut.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then this one, and you're also helping. It can be a project for the poor. Normally,
Yes.
they're found in the palengke, etc. Have you done something about it? Kasi I think one, in fact, meron pa isa. It can be also done with furnitures, no? So, what's your comment on that, Gino? Yep.
We've started the production, not us, but we have identified a few coconut cooperatives who started doing charcoal briquettes. And another good opportunity is we started selling to China. This particular product does not produce any form of ash. So if you're into barbecue, the Chinese market is very keen in buying this particular product, because when we marketed it to them, this particular product does not have any ashes. So it's a good alternative to coal or even to charcoal, because you don't cut down trees. And I think we're working with CDA to identify more farmer cooperatives to look at this opportunity. And I'd like to point out as well that if the private sector can identify other areas, we'd be happy to work with you and direct them to CDA, Cooperative Development Authority, to identify which areas would actually be beneficial, because one major component or problem that we are facing as well is the logistics. So we have a lot of producing coconut and all other products, but moving them from one place to another is becoming a disaster, a problem for many other companies. So that I think is another area that has to be bridged. But under the CFIDP, DTI, we're only looking at the marketing and promotion. But as mentioned by one of your members, this is something I would really put forward with TCA, that marketing should be the lead. Because right now, marketing becomes a follower to the R&D plus all the other areas. So I think what we're seeing should be translated to the farmers, and this farmer should be able to convert it into products that would be usable for the international market. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, yes, great, great. So I texted you my number. You can contact me. I'll help, no? Okay, so
Thank you, sir.
the Yupanco's Humanity Group. Okay, congratulations. Yeah. Thank
All
you.
right. It is 9. Gina, do you think you have time for just one more question?
Maybe one more question I can accommodate.
Okay, Ernie, please. Your question.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, sir.
I would just, well, there is before, maybe more than 50 years ago, we used to have Star Margarine, Dairy Cream, Later on, Philippine Refining came out also with another product, But I wonder, that because when I talk about advertisement, both Procter and Gamble and Liber Brothers, they're all over the world, So when it comes to promoting it, was there any any discussion by government and with these companies, to promote some of this product abroad? Because Procter and Gamble, that's Tide, and up to now there's Tide, there's still Breeze, I was just wondering whether there was this cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that point. I'm not quite familiar with that cooperation, but I will have to check on the status of that, and if that is something that can also be ventured upon under CFIDP, because I think that's a good opportunity if there's going to be a conglomeration of different producers of all of these coconut products.
Okay. Sige. So it is 9 o'clock. So before we end, may I please ask for a group picture? Sure. Sorry, Henry, not yet. Let's do the group picture first. Please stop sharing first. Okay. So may I please ask everyone to turn on their cameras? Everyone, cameras on, please, and big smiles. Henry, if I may ask you to count us in and take our picture.
All right, but in 3, 2, 1, smile.
Yeah.
Isa pa po. In 3, 2, 1, smile. Thank you po.
Okay, and now we can share the certificate of appreciation. I see Gino looking at the clock. It is an EXICOM meeting, so let's do this quickly. Certificate of appreciation, please. Okay, so we present the certificate of appreciation to Gino Liano, okay, for your invaluable support and in the advocacy and promotion of agribusiness and countryside development, and for your commendable and unselfish services rendered to this foundation as our resource speaker, given in our 3rd weekly online meeting of 2023, this 24th day of January, signed by myself as chairman and Ernie Ordonez as our president. So let's all give our warm appreciation to Gina and to the rest of the DTI-EMB team for being with us today. Let's give them a quick round of applause. And for those of you who will be, please stay tuned for our session next week. It's an exciting one. This is a friend of mine, Elvin Laceda. So he is a friend of mine, a fellow youth in agriculture. Lovely guy. Grew up in very difficult, under very difficult conditions. got the scholarship to study in the United States, and now is an advocate for social justice, especially among rice farmers. So I'm really glad that Bernie, you were able to get him. And I hope you'll be with us next week for him to talk about community-based farm schools. So I hope we'll see you all next week for that. So for those of you who do have to go ahead, this ends our formal session.
Thank you so
We do
much.
end our formal session at 9 o'clock. Sorry. Yes, and Gino has to go ahead. So Gino, please, thank you very much. And please take care. We'll see you around, hopefully.
Thank you,
Okay.
Thank you,
Gino.
everyone. Apologies for
Yeah.
leaving early.
No, go
We
ahead. Go ahead.
understand, Gino. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, and for those of you who do have to go ahead because you have other appointments after 9 o'clock, please do. Don't worry about it. And we hope to see you in our next session. For those of you who would like to stay for our informal session, please do stay. We do have discussions until around 10 o'clock. So if you can stay, please do so. But for the rest of you, thank you very much for joining us and have a good day.